Hi, this is Thoraya. I'm going to help you with some strategies to learn vocabulary. This is our lesson 1 related to word meaning. Here are the points we're going to cover together. First, we'll have a short introduction about why vocabulary is important, why should we learn vocabulary, and then we'll go to a part about meaning in context. What is context? Then what are context clues that will help us learn vocabulary? The first context clue will be definition or restatement, then synonym, antonym, and examples. The second part of this presentation is going to cover sense relations between words, and there are 3 types of relations: compare and contrast, sequence, and cause and effect. Finally, we are going to look at some strategies that will help you remember the words that you've learned. Among the strategies, we'll see the mapping, contextual redefinition, enumeration, visual representation, and some vocab games. And we'll end up with a little or small conclusion. Why is vocabulary important according to you? First, learning vocabulary is very important because it helps you to speak well and use the right words in order to express yourself in a better way. Learning vocabulary as well can help you improve communication skills and communicate more effectively. The more words you know, the more words you use, the better you express yourself, the better you communicate with the others. Vocabulary also assists your understanding and helps you obtain better grades in exams at school. It helps you develop reading and writing abilities. These are also used at school. They will help you get better grades, they will help you pass exams, and they are also life skills that you use wherever you are. So increasing your vocabulary will make you confident and self-assured. I'm here, I'm able to communicate with everybody. I have the communication tools needed. In order to learn vocabulary appropriately, you'll first need to focus on meaning in context. Because words used alone do not provide the full meaning. When we come across a word and try to decipher its meaning, what's context? We need to understand what it is first. Context refers to the words or sentences that surround a word, or an idea, or a passage, which either greatly influence or directly defines the word. So, context is made of words, a situation around the target word we are trying to understand. So in order to understand that particular word, we need to focus on all the words that have come around it. Depending upon the surrounding words and the surrounding text, a word, a particular word, can take on different meanings. Therefore, what we can conclude from this is that knowing a word means first knowing its context. In order to be able to use the context effectively to understand a word or to learn a word, we need to focus and depict some context clues. There are actually 4 types of context clues that are important to understand an unfamiliar word in a sentence. First is definition or restatement. Synonym is another context clue. Antonym, or opposite, a contrasting word. And the 4th one is the example or explanation through examples. We'll take them in details. The first context clue is definition or restatement, which provides an explanation or explanations. How are these explanations provided for the reader or for the learner? The author explains the meaning of the word in the sentence or in the selection. For example, let's have a look at this sentence. The walls of our house fell. Then the roof. The entire house was flattened. The word flattened in this sentence is explained by the words that came before. The walls fell, and then the roof that fell as well. Therefore, a house, the walls and the roof of which have fallen down, was obviously knocked down to earth. And this actually is the definition of flattened in this context. The house was flattened, it means that it was knocked down. What helps us understand this in this sentence is that the walls of this house fell and the roof of this house fell as well. Another possibility in definition or restatement is to give a direct definition for the word. The author defines the word in the sentence itself, using some signal words like is, are, is called, means, or. In this example, kelp is a green plant at the start of many food chains. The target word is the red highlighted word, kelp. What's the signal word used here is the verb to be, is. What follows the verb to be, what follows this signal word, is actually the definition of the word. So if you can depict that signal word, then the definition is easy, and it's easy for you to determine the meaning of the word. Because the sentence actually determines the meaning of the word kelp. First, it tells us that it is a plant, it's a green plant, and then it specifies that it starts many food chains. So you've got a general definition or a general meaning of the word, and then it goes into specification within the sentence itself. In this kind of context clues, commas are very important. They often set off non-restrictive elements that provide additional information and elaboration on a certain word. For example, I wanted to buy a digital camera with a zoom lens, which is very costly. Notice here the use of the comma, followed by a non-restrictive element, which is very costly. The phrase, which is very costly, provides additional information that can be used to figure out the meaning of the words that come before the phrase. We now pass to the second context clue, or the second type of context clue, that is synonyms. A synonym is the relation between two or more words of similar meanings. Let's say car and automobile, or sofa and coach. These words are synonymous. Let's have a look at synonyms in context, within a sentence. Every building was destroyed by the earthquake. The demolished buildings were just dust. If you want to look at this sentence, the target word is demolished, this word. What helps us understand the meaning or try to figure it out? It's the word destroyed that preceded it and that has the same meaning. Destroyed is very similar in meaning to demolished. Destroyed is a familiar word for you. This will help you understand or deduce the meaning of demolished. Especially that it's using the word buildings that was already used at the beginning of the sentence. Now, if you want to look up the synonyms a word has, then you go to a thesaurus. Here are some examples. The thief tried to conceal or hide the evidence. Conceal and hide are synonyms. I'm going to purchase or buy a new coat. Purchase is the synonym of buy. You have my profound, deep sympathy. Profound is a synonym for deep. And it's a very wide or broad street, and these words have similar meanings. In sentences using this context clue that is synonyms, there are some special signal words sometimes, like also, as, identical, like, likewise. So if you can depict some of these signal words, expect to find a synonym in a sentence. This will help you understand it better. Here is an exercise on synonyms. It's an easy one. Read the question and take seconds to think about it. Choose the correct synonym of the word from the 4 options. 1. He is a fast runner. The target word is fast. Fast runner means quick, slow, energetic, or calm. Obviously, the synonym of fast is quick. Two, do you think I'm stupid? The target word is stupid. The synonym is either dumb or intelligent, brilliant, or fast. Stupid is more likely to be a synonym of dumb. Now, the more you check thesaurus, the more you look at synonyms, the more you try to use synonyms in your remembrance exercises, daily exercises, the better you will be able to understand or depict the meaning of unfamiliar words when you come across them in any context. Here are 2 more examples. Synonym of satisfy. Is it meet, identify, fulfill, emulate? So satisfy is rather fulfill. And the synonym of early, eloquently, viciously, ahead of time, imperfectly. So if I come early to school, it means that I come ahead of time. The third context clue is exactly the opposite of the previous one. It's antonyms. Antonym is the relation that holds between words of opposite meaning, like hot and cold, up and down, big and small, huge and tiny, buy and sell. And antonyms like these help the reader find the meaning of an unfamiliar word by presenting an alternate word in context that has the opposite meaning. For example, if you buy something from me, then it implies that I sell something to you. Or if X is Y's husband, this implies that Y is X's wife. Contrasting signal words for antonyms include even though, however, in contrast, unlike, but, and sometimes the word different. Once you recognize the signal words, you'll be able to find the antonym. And then you can use the definition of the antonym to find the opposite meaning of the unknown word. Here is an exercise that shows some examples. He is tall. Is it short, big, huge, or hungry? So the antonym of tall is short. The antonym of hot is cold. This seems like a good hotel. Now, the antonym for good is obviously bad, and the opposite of sorrow, or the antonym of sorrow, is joy. This is just an example or a few examples to add to your words list. The last context clue is explanation through examples. Is when the author provides one or more examples within the sentence that highlight the meaning of the target word. For example, vigorous activities such as football, netball, soccer, running and swimming can improve your fitness. The target word here is vigorous. The highlighted word in green, such as, is a signal word. When we find the signal word, we expect to find examples. And football, netball, soccer, running and swimming, these are the examples that illustrate vigorous activities. So the series of examples of activities given in the sentence explains what vigorous activities means. It helps us approach the meaning of the word vigorous. All the examples require physical strength and power. And that's what vigorous in this context means. Vigorous activities are activities requiring strength, physical strength, and requiring power, energy. Another example. You could hear this rumbling noise like a big train. It got louder and louder. We couldn't even hear ourselves. And all of a sudden, in a second, it stopped. The tornado was gone. This example is a bit longer than the first one. The first one was just one sentence, but here is a selection or short paragraph. The example provided in this paragraph is a big train. The target word actually is rumbling noise. So if you don't know what a rumbling noise is, a big train, it's like a big train. This example helps you approach the meaning, even though you might not get the exact meaning of the word. But you make big steps, great steps in understanding it. You approach it, and therefore it no longer hinders your understanding of the whole situation or of the whole context, of the whole description of the tornado here. The signal word is actually like. Likening this sound to the sound of a big train actually leaves no doubt in the reader's mind that it is a deep, thundering sound. And this is the definition of rumbling. These are the signal words that you might use or that you might see, you might depict as a detective in a context in order to find or to use examples in the sentence, such as for, or for example, for instance, like, including. These examples are usually set off by a comma. Here is a bit of practice. Read the following paragraph and figure out the meaning of obscure, but do not look it up in a dictionary. Most reality TV shows center on two common motivators, fame and money. The shows transform waitresses, hairdressers, investment bankers, counselors, and teachers from obscure figures to household names. What does obscure mean? Even if you have no idea what obscure means, you can still learn about the word by how it is used, by examining the words and ideas surrounding it. Remember what we said about context. It's the words and ideas surrounding a particular word. Like detectives, looking for clues at a crime scene, we must look at the passage for clues that will help us define the word obscure. Well, since the shows transform waitresses, hairdressers, investment bankers, counselors, and teachers from one position that is obscure or obscure figures to another position that is household names, that immediately tells us that an obscure figure and a household name are two different things. Household name is something that is known for us. It's related to household, something familiar. So if we focus on household name being the position to which these jobs are, or these people are transformed from a different other position, we can deduce that obscure might be the opposite of this. Something that's not familiar, not known, not famous. Especially if we do use another word in the context that is fame, the noun from famous. Furthermore, we know that these people are involved in typical everyday jobs: waitresses, bankers, hairdressers, teachers, everyday jobs. And that from this position, they are transformed into household names, which means they achieve some level of fame. I think now you can guess the meaning of obscure, can you? Before they become household names, the waitresses, hairdressers, investment bankers, counselors, and teachers are famous and notorious, or unknown and undistinguished, or unique and distinctive. What do you think? Actually, the correct answer is B. Choice A is wrong, because we know that these people are not yet famous. The reality shows will make them famous, will transform them to that position. But until that happens, they remain what? They remain obscure. Choice C doesn't really make sense, because we know from the passage that these people are waitresses, hairdressers, investment bankers, counselors, teachers. Now, these are all very respectable jobs, of course, but they are fairly common. So they wouldn't be described as unique jobs or distinctive positions. Furthermore, we can tell that choice B is the correct answer because we can substitute the word obscure with the words unknown or undistinguished, those words that have come in alternative B. If we substitute the word obscure with these alternatives in the sentence, both would make sense. We now come to the second part, that is sense relations. We all know that words have meanings in relation to other words. What kinds of relations? There are three kinds of relations. The first obvious one is compare and contrast. The second one is sequence. And the third one is cause and effect. We'll take them one by one, starting by compare and contrast relation. Lexical sense relations are the relationships between meaning of words in either their similarity or contrast, whether they are similar or different in meaning. For example, we understand the meaning of the word good from the context of the word bad. Remember what we said about antonyms. We can present the meaning of empty, contrasting it with full. The meaning of cold by contrasting it with the meaning of hot. The meaning of big by contrasting it with the meaning of small. As for sequence, it is the relation between words in a series. It's the relationship that holds between different members of one category, of the same category. For example, the relations between words like apple, pear, orange, and the more general term fruit. The category actually is fruit, and apple, pear, orange are the series of words under this category. Thus, angry, sad, afraid, and depressed is a set of words in a lexical field that shows emotions. And here is an example. Plants, this is the category. The series, flowers, trees, weeds, rose, carnation. Another sense relationship between words is cause and effect, or the causal relation. It's as simple as A is the cause of B. Examples. 1. Scurvy is caused by lack of vitamin C. This sentence provides the cause and the effect. Scurvy is the effect, it's a kind of disease, and the cause is the lack of vitamin C. Is caused by is the signal word that helped us understand the meaning of the word, or at least approach the meaning of the word scurvy. Example 2. A tornado begins to form when cold air meets warm air. The effect is the tornado. The cause is cold air meeting warm air. Begins to form when. This helps us understand that cold air meeting warm air is the cause of the tornado. Now, contextual relationship procedure will help us go through the process very quickly to remember what we've done and to see the whole process. How can we determine the meaning of a word? Here is the example. Joe was very happy to move to a safe, quiet suburban area. His neighborhood had a community pool and lots of kids his own age to play with. The suburban area was very different from the downtown or urban area he had once lived in. The suburban neighborhood on the outer sides of the town, near the big city, was just the place for Joe. The target word here is suburban area. Sentence 1 uses the word in context. Joe was very happy to move to a safe, quiet suburban area. Sentence 2 does not use the word, but further explains it. The neighborhood had a community, pool, kids to play, etc. Sentence 3 uses the word and contrasts it to an antonym. The suburban area was very different from the downtown or urban area. And sentence 4 uses the word and defines it. The suburban neighborhood on the outer sides of the town near the big city. So, suburban means a type of car, an area on the outer border of a town, or another name for city. Actually, choice B is the correct answer. A suburban area is an area on the outer border of a town. It can't be a name of a city, and it can't be a type of car. Using all this context, using the 4 different context clues that you have, you can approach the meaning and even get the exact meaning. That's the end of lesson 1. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you use those strategies to learn vocabulary in a more effective way. See you in the next lesson.